One morning the devil, he came to church in a burst of smoke and flame. He ran up and down the aisles, he said, Beelzebub is my name. I am evil incarnate, the object of all your fears. The old man said, you don't scare me at all, been married to your sister for 43 years. A man walked by the insane asylum, they were yelling, 21, 21. He looked through a hole in the fence and it sounded like they were having fun. He peered through the hole in the fence to see what crazy people do, and they poked him in the eye with a sharp stick and said, 22, 22. Well, my daughter brought home a boyfriend with great big ugly tattoos, long black greasy hair, and Lord how he loved the booze. I said, darling, I'm sure he's nice, but something makes me nervous. She said, he's extremely nice. He's doing 500 hours of community service. Well, the blonde walked into the fabric store. She said, I want some curtains, please. It's for my computer screen. And the clerk said, excuse me, curtains for your computer? Why would you want those? And the blonde said, hello, I have windows. Well, a man and his wife, they died in a crash and they went to heaven that day, to a mansion with a big swimming pool and a golf course to play. The man said to his wife, I really hate you. You know, if you hadn't made me quit smoking, could have been here years ago. Well, the pallbearers carried Mr. Miller from the hearse on the church drive, and they bumped into a fire hydrant and he fell out, still alive. 2 years later, he died, and the pallbearers carried Mr. Miller back into church with his wife behind. She said, look out for that pillar. Well, the drunk saw a woman at the bar, and he kissed her. She slapped his face. He said, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you look just like my dear wife, Grace. She said, you are a worthless drunk, never saw one worse than you. You are disgusting, you know that? And the man said, you know, you sound like her too. Well, the woman, she went into labor and she started to yell and pant. Couldn't, wouldn't, didn't, hasn't, shouldn't, won't, and can't. The man called up the obstetrician. He said, isn't it time to take some action? The woman cried, don't and isn't. The doctor said, it's just contractions. Well, the engineer, he was sentenced to death and he went to the guillotine. But they couldn't get that blade to drop. Something wrong with that machine. They decided to send him to jail with the thieves and the cheats and the liars. But he said, hey, I see your problem. Hand me a pair of pliers. Well, Jim and John had to share a room one night in a hotel. Jim said, I snore so bad I doubt you'll sleep that well. And John kissed him on the cheek. He said, sweetheart, it's all right. Jim went and sat in a chair and he stayed awake all night. Well, darling, you've always been with me on life's long bumpy ride. Through sickness, hair loss, bankruptcy, you've been here by my side. My heart attack and the house burning down that night that the lightning struck. And liver cancer, and now suddenly I'm starting to think that you're bad luck. Well, two nuns ran out of gasoline. They simply had forgot. So they had to walk to a gas station, and all he had was a chamber pot. He filled it up, and they took it back, and they poured it into the car. And a farmer saw and thought, my God, what women of faith they are. What women of faith they are. What women of faith they are.